Welcome everyone to another Ref Brandon and the Todd Family YouTube video. Wherever you are, whatever you may be doing, thank you so much for making Ref Brandon and the Todd Family a part of your day. We always greatly appreciate it. If you jump on here live here on this Sunday evening, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section down below. Make sure to give the video a like, a thumbs up. If you have not yet subscribed, please do so and share the video on all social media platforms. Now, as you can tell by the title of the video, tonight's going to be a 2026 college football season preview for a different team. I put number 5 in the video, but if you're watching this, whether it's live or later on, and I'm wrong and it's number 6, let me know. I always say I don't write this stuff down. I guess this just further proves that to be true, because I feel like I'm forgetting somebody. I know I've did LSU, Florida State, Penn State, and Ohio State. Hey, Jacob, I'm glad to have you here as always, but I feel like I'm forgetting somebody, so I want to say it's preview number 6, but right now in my mind it's number 5. But either way, just thinking about LSU, Florida State, Penn State, and Ohio State, I realized I have not done a team yet from the Big 12, so I thought, why not do a team from the Big 12? And then I remembered that DJ Lagway is now at Baylor. So I thought, hey, let's talk about Baylor. So tonight, my 2026 college football team season preview will be the Baylor Bears. Now, this year, their offensive coordinator is still Jake Spavital. It's year number 3 for him. Hey there. I'm going to say Jim. Glad to have you here and recognize your name in the comment section. If this is your first time being here, for whatever reason made you stop tonight by the channel, thank you very much. Feel free to give the video a like, a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, share the video on all social media platforms, and tell your friends, tell your family about the channel. Me too, Jacob. I think they're going to be better in 26 than they were in 25. I just don't know how much better they're going to be. But Jake Spavital is still the Baylor offensive coordinator, year number 3. But now their new defensive coordinator is Joe Klanderman. He comes over to Baylor after spending the last 6 years in his state. Now, there was a time today when Baylor had Art Briles, and after years and years and years of Baylor just being terrible, you know, Art Briles made him a top 5 team. Hey there, Sunkist. Glad to have you here. And Milani, whether it's a different person or if Sunkist is Milani, either way, glad to have either you here or y'all here on this Sunday evening. And Jim and Sunkist or Milani, if y'all are new to the channel, I try to post a video just about every single day. I do skip a day every now and then, but I try to post a video just about every single day. I talk college football, the NFL, college basketball, the NBA. We talk some NASCAR. We talk wrestling, baseball, and then I do top 10 countdowns that sometimes aren't about sports or wrestling in any kind of way. Hey there, Kayshawn. Glad to have you here. It's another new name in the comment section. I always enjoy seeing new people because hopefully that leads to having new subscribers. So we got Jake Spavital as the OC, and we got Joe Klanderman as the defensive coordinator. And as I said earlier in the video, we've got DJ Lagway, the former Florida quarterback, is now the Baylor quarterback. But after Art Briles left, they went through a couple of different coaches because they thought, hey, since Art Briles, made it to top 5 team, we can do this. And I think now that we've gone more than a decade without getting back to being a top 5 team, they've finally realized that it is Baylor, and they're better than they used to be when they were only a 2 or 3 win team. But, if they can consistently get to 6, 7 wins a year at Baylor, that's about as good as you can hope for. Now, you might occasionally get a 9 or 10 win season, but I think that's being unrealistic, especially when you're right there in the middle of Texas and you're competing with Texas and Texas A&M and SMU and Houston and Texas Tech, and all those programs are traditionally better than what Baylor is. But, of course, they've got 9 conference games and 3 non-conference games. And as far as conference play goes, it starts out pretty favorable, but then their last 3 games are brutal. So if Baylor wants to have a winning record this season, they better do it by mid-November because their schedule is brutal. And I mean brutal coming down the stretch. But they open up on September the 5th against Auburn. Of course, that's the second of this 2-game series. Those 2 teams played last year in week number 1. Then they play Prairie View A&M on September the 12th. And then they wrap up their non-conference part of the season on September 19th against Louisiana Tech. So the 3 non-conference games kick off the season: Auburn, Prairie View, and Louisiana Tech. Then they start conference play on September 26th against Colorado. And then into the month of October, first game in October on the 3rd against Arizona State. Colorado is at home, and Arizona State is on the road. So far, 1 home game in conference, 1 road game in conference. Week number 6 is their bye week, and they come back on October 17th at home against TCU. And October 24th, Kansas. Then they wrap up October, Halloween weekend, on a Friday night against Central Florida. And by the way, Kayshawn, I saw your comment, and the reason why I didn't respond is not trying to be mean. Don't take it that way, but to me, it's 2026. I don't think color matters, so I don't look at my wife, a black woman, I look at my wife as my wife. Then they kick off November on November the 7th against Iowa State. November the 14th, they play BYU. And that's the beginning of their awful 3-game stretch to end the season. But on the road in Provo, Utah, to play BYU. And then the last home game of the season is on the 21st of November against Texas Tech, who by all accounts is going to be a top 5 team again this year. And then the game that's probably the easiest of those 3, but still not easy, last game of the season, Thanksgiving weekend, November 28th against Houston. So the 9 conference games they have, 4 of them are at home: Colorado, TCU, Iowa State, and Texas Tech. They only have 6 home games this year because you have those 4 Big 12 games at home, and then of course out of conference you play Prairie View and Louisiana Tech, and the opening game against Auburn is in Atlanta. I've got them going 5-4 in the Big 12, and then 7-5 overall, because I do think they'll lose to Auburn. They played Auburn last year, and most people thought that as bad as Auburn was last year, and they were awful, that Baylor would beat them, and Baylor struggled in that game. And I think now that Auburn has a new head coach, they're going to be improved. So I'll give Auburn a win in that game, but Baylor will beat Prairie View A&M, and they'll beat Louisiana Tech. But as far as conference play goes, I said I've got them going 5-4. But like I always say, yeah, I've got them going 5-4 in the Big 12, and then 7-5 overall. But the 5 losses I have don't matter. What matters is that I've got that as their overall record. If they beat somebody I say they lose to, and then lose to somebody I say they beat, it doesn't matter. The fact is they were still 7-5. So as I always say, don't focus on who I've got them beating and losing to. Focus on the overall record, because 7-5 is 7-5 no matter who it comes to. You went 7-5, but I think they lose to Auburn in that non-conference game, and then in conference, I've got them losing to Arizona State, and then they got a, in my opinion, a good shot to go on a winning streak. I think they beat TCU and Kansas and Central Florida and Iowa State. Now that Iowa State's lost Matt Campbell, I expect them to take a huge step back this year. So if my prediction's right, then Baylor's going to be off to a 5-1 start. In the Big 12, they're going to beat Colorado and then lose to the Sun Devils, and then come back and beat TCU, Kansas, Central Florida, and Iowa State. And then I've got them wrapping up the season with 3 straight losses to Texas Tech and Houston. Now, I don't think Houston's going to be quite as good as they were last year, but I think they're still better than Baylor. I've seen DJ Lagway play. He is just extremely inconsistent, and Houston is the kind of team to where if you don't get good quarterback play all 4 quarters, not great, but good quarterback play all 4 quarters, you're not beating Houston. And Lagway has just been so inconsistent that until I see him be a consistent quarterback all the time, then I'm of the impression he's going to continue to be an inconsistent quarterback. So 5-4 in the Big 12, 7-5 overall for the Baylor Bears in 2026. Any thoughts on any of this? Please feel free to let me know. Let's go ahead and get our dad joke of the day in here. I work at a crematorium. Your salary is dependent how much you earn. And that does it for today's Ref Brandon and the Todd Family YouTube video. Until next time, it's Ref Brandon saying, just like in pro wrestling, life can be over by the count of 3.